For those of you guys who don't know who Drew Pavlou is, he is on our side. He's a liberal who is on our side, okay? But he's missing a few chromosomes, okay? As for Nathan, okay, he's Destiny's son, and he's recently become an unironic neo-Nazi. So, I guess this is Drew Pavlou debating Destiny's son. Definitely kind of cringe, very cringe, okay? Drew Pavlou is actually really cringe, but... Also, I saw people bring up the fact that, did Drew Pavlou get consent from Destiny to interview, his son? And at least from what I see, okay, from what I see, I don't think Destiny has an issue necessarily with adults trying to get content out of his son. I remember when Kelly Jean was talking to Nathan on Nathan's own Discord server, and then we all made a big deal out of it, like she was some predator or something. And I asked ChatGPT, okay, all right, don't laugh at me, okay, because I was like, okay, I asked ChatGPT, oh, is it illegal to interview or interact with someone's like child without parental consent in Australia? And ChatGPT said, most of the time, generally, yes. Okay, he's fine. All right, so Drew is fine. He's not breaking any laws, I think. Dude, I don't know what's going on. Whatever. Okay, all right. We'll just see what happens. Oh, hey, Kosher Kathy, very nice.
Do you reckon he's trolling? Like,
bros everywhere.
top 5 books, Drew. My favorite books are, as you can see behind me, the Robert Caro series.
This is cringe, okay? Having a bookcase behind you when you haven't read any of the books is cringe, okay? Alright, just stop. I don't... Whenever somebody has a bookcase behind them, I refuse to believe that you've read any book, okay?
On Lyndon Johnson.
That's just the... So... Listen, that's just the natural assumption, alright? But
legendary. Such a good book.
Who was watching a recommended video? No. No. I put it on my docket before you recommended it, but... Oh yeah, boy! Don't be sad. Be happy.
Oh, he's here. Okay, he's here. Okay, fuck. All right. Oh, gee, man. I was worried that you weren't going to join, man.
Oh, yeah. A bunch of stuff was going on.
No, okay. Thanks for joining.
Oh, God. He really does kind of look like Destiny. What the fuck?
Joining. Everything okay?
This is fucked up, guys.
Yeah, I needed to get a bunch of stuff done, and then also, like, the audio and stuff.
No.
Wait, does Nathan have a little bit of an accent? Do I detect a little bit of an accent?
Okay, thanks for joining. So, listen, man, I don't want to debate bro or attack you harshly. You're a young guy, so I want to just try and talk respectfully. And listen, I'm a fan of your dad, so I don't want to I don't want to have like a vicious debate or anything.
I'm a fan of your dad, dude. Dude. Oh. Okay,
but right. I do want to talk to you about
liberal audio. Unlike other people, okay, I actually have good audio quality. Okay, you're welcome. All right.
Your views, because you've said that you're a Nazi. You've said that you endorse Adolf Hitler. And look, these are pretty morally
what
horrible views in my view. Like you know, this man was responsible for arguably the worst genocide in human history, the mass murder of millions upon millions of people, and even setting aside the mass murder of innocents. I mean, he literally destroyed Europe. He destroyed Germany. So I want to ask you about these views. Where did they come from? Why do you call yourself a Nazi?
Well, I've done plenty of research. I keep doing research. I'm actually reading.
Didn't Destiny debate that underage girl called Colonel something? Yes. He did. I think her name was Sophie or Soph or something like that. But it was a neo-Nazi like 14-year-old girl. Okay. that the rest of the neo-Nazi online space was like trying to groom her into like their next like fucking underage child bride icon or something. But yeah, no, I mean like I don't think you should have an issue with this if Destiny is willing to do that. But yeah, you know,
Reading a lot of books now
she became a beauty influencer. Cringe.
about this topic, kind of.
Could you tell us what are you reading for your research? What books are you reading on this?
Yeah, I actually have mentioned in notes. I can pull up those books. The book I'm reading right now, ironically, is Mein Kampf. I'm trying to
Oh boy. Okay. All right.
understand psychology
Yeah.
of Hitler around the time before he was kind of who he is known as today.
Tell me more about
So
Hitler.
one of the books I'm reading is it's kind of about banking loving, but more specifically about nationalism, where it came from. It's Balkan nationalism in the 19th century, exposing the roots of identity and conflict. It's not really a book; it's more of an article.
Okay. Well, I just want to know, like, where did this political path come from, though, right? Because obviously your dad is like quite a famous liberal. I want to know, like,
You know, this doesn't really help the narrative that all liberals are actually secretly like Nazis in waiting or something, and Nathan just skipped a bunch of steps and he just went straight to the source. Dude. How am I supposed to explain things now? I feel like. Like, oh yeah, yes, I know the son of the largest, like fucking one of the largest debaters on the internet, like who claims to be a liberal, is actually having a pro-Hitler son. I don't. What am I supposed to say?
so how did you go down this path of? I think it was about Nick Fuentes and stuff like that.
Oh,
What led you to those views?
not him.
I opened my mind up. I had more conversations with people on the alt right and the far right. And that's kind of it. I started watching and consuming more alt right content too.
Okay, so you've consumed this alt-right content. I'm interested. So I remember,
Yeah,
Destiny,
is it Fuentes?
you went to the Holocaust Museum with him.
Mm-hmm.
Did that have any influence on your views?
No, not really.
Why is
Dude, he's such a Giga Chad. Bro, what the fuck? He can't be stopped. He saw all of these Jews lining up in ditches, and he's like, yeah, you know what? Excuse me, this is a fallacy, okay? This is what we call, all right, straw man. First of all, straw man. Number 2, ad hominem, okay?
that? I mean,
Number 3, anecdote.
Interesting.
I didn't pay too much attention to the memorial. I looked around, of course, some of the stuff there. It was sad, but I was kind of critical of a lot of the stuff I saw there, especially one of the doors for the supposed gas chamber. Yes, it was wooden, and yes, it had handles. That kind of
Wait, what? Am I missing something? Wait, okay.
that kind of clicked in my mind. I thought that was kind of strange, and then as I explored more of the memorial, that kind of solidified my opinions in a way.
so you
You went to a Holocaust Memorial Museum, and that solidified your neo-Nazi beliefs. Okay.
actually say that going to the Holocaust Museum in Washington D.C. made you less trusting of
That's just
historical
just
evidence about the
fantastic.
Holocaust.
Mm-hmm.
Could you explain that a bit further?
Dude.
Right. So number one, the shoes, and I was very critical of like the shoe exhibit, or the shoes in like the shoe part of the museum, they had like
Nazis say wood doors are too porous, too many holes to trap gas in a chamber. Oh, okay,
a
okay.
little plaque next to it explaining the story behind it. I thought that was strange, and
Okay.
I don't believe the story behind the shoe thing. I think it's much more simple than what they're trying to lead on. And then also the shoes, they don't actually look real, and it's not like well, they look like real shoes. I
Oh,
just
what
don't
the
think
fuck,
they're
dude?
specifically from each camp or anything like that. And then also
Like they
the
look like
photos.
train.
There's a corridor you can go down. Two walls,
Okay.
huge. There's a bottom level and then also another top level. I was in the middle level. There were a bunch of pictures on every wall. A lot of the pictures looked kind of strange. They didn't look natural. Some of the pictures were real because from when I was like 11 researching the Holocaust, I seen some of those pictures, and yeah, they are real pictures. Some of the pictures were of Jews being transported to camps. That's real. That happened around 1941, 1942 in Poland and closer to Germany, South Germany, kinda. That happened. So I'm not saying all of it's fake, but I'm saying that a lot of the
I'm beginning to think that he didn't go to the Holocaust memorial. He went to the Nazi memorial or something. I don't fucking know. He went to the wrong memorial.
pictures, or the fact that they had a
Dude,
fake Hitler quote on the wall, that was strange to me.
the
And
Hitler
then
memorial.
the fact
Oh
that some of the
lord.
pictures looked a little weird, and then also the shoe exhibit.
Can you explain what is your actual position here? Is your position that the Holocaust did not happen?
Oh yeah.
Auschwitz was also turned into a. Oh,
It
my
didn't
God.
happen. So there were
Okay,
no
yeah,
killings of
okay.
Jews. There was no persecution of Jews by
Okay.
Nazi Germany. In
Just
your
I'm
view,
not saying that. The Holocaust.
shaken, not stirred.
I used to be a grammar Nazi until I realized I was just being anti-Semitic.
There's no way you made that one up. Thank you so much, though, Silver King, for the $5. I appreciate that. Okay. Thank you.
Isn't.
Yo, guys, yes, please. Okay, support your local streamer, please. Okay, all right. I have to make up for Destiny's COVID coverage, okay, with actual drama slop. So please, okay, like the stream. Okay, donate some monies. Get a super chat. Buy a super chat. Get a membership for your friend. Okay, buy a membership yourself. All right, get rid of that white name. Thank you so much. Then he's doing Alzheimer's research because his mom has it. Oh, okay. What's wrong with Destiny's COVID coverage? What? It's just boring. What do you want me to say?
Persecution and specifically mass murder and the targeting of Jewish people in World War II. That's what the Holocaust was. I'm not saying that Jews didn't die. I'm not saying that they weren't persecuted. I know they were persecuted. In 1936, that's when it was really bad for one of the first times when Hitler was in power. And then also there were killings of Jews. There were Nazi death squads that specifically targeted Jewish prisoners in concentration camps. I know that happened.
so I just want to clarify. So if you said earlier you're reading Mein Kampf. In Mein Kampf, there are hundreds of pages that Hitler devotes to expressing his hatred towards Jews, how he wants the Jews to be pushed out of Europe, etc. He sees the Jews as basically this existential pestilence. So you would be quite obviously you would understand quite obviously Hitler hated the Jews, but you don't believe he persecuted the Jews.
Oh God, Nazi quit. Dude, I'm sorry, Nathan. Nathan quit. Nathan ran. Oh, never mind.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi cut out.
So,
never mind.
So I'm just trying to work this out. You're reading Mein Kampf, and in Mein Kampf, Hitler expresses over hundreds of pages his absolute hatred of the Jews. Would you agree with that?
Yes, he does.
Okay, but you don't believe that he persecuted the Jews when he came to power. I'm just trying to work this out.
I never said that. I explicitly said, yeah, Jews were
No. Dude, Drew is already fucking this up for some reason. I don't know why, okay? What Nathan is saying is that he thinks the Jews have been persecuted, obviously, but he doesn't think the Holocaust happened, okay? So you need to provide evidence of the Holocaust, okay? You're not here to provide evidence of like, oh, the persecution of Jews, okay? Because I don't think Nathan is saying that. Anyway.
Persecuted when he came to power.
Okay, and do you support that? Oh, geez, cut out again.
There's no way this cut out at exactly the right time. What? Dude, you can't make a comedy sketch this good. You actually can't make a comedy sketch this good. This is insane. What? What is going on?
He's cut out. It's pretty sad how hardcore his views are on this.
Well, then stop being sad. What the fuck? How? Okay, listen. Don't be sad, okay? All right? You have to be pretty parasocial to, I mean, and that's coming from me, okay? And that's coming from me, okay? Rethink your parasocial relationship with Destiny, okay? If you're sad about this, anyway.
Okay. It's back.
Okay, response to that question.
Okay.
In some ways, not all aspects of the persecution, but in some ways, yeah.
So wait, sorry. Okay, let me just clarify that question again. So, when it comes to, so you agree that Hitler hated Jews, and you agree that you agree that he persecuted Jews when he came to power.
Yes.
And I'm asking, do you support the persecution in that way?
Overall, yes. Some aspects, no, but
You know what? I'm just glad he's able to own the positions, okay? You're not arguing over like, oh, I'm just a moderate, but Hitler did some. I mean, at least he's very clear. Well, this is actually good because the thing is that now you can kind of debate on the facts, right? You can't just debate based off of, oh, I have to prove now that you're a Nazi, right? Like he's unabashedly a Nazi. You just have to debate him, right? You like, yeah, you don't have to like second guess yourself. He's not here to gaslight you, right? He's saying straight up.
if we're just saying yes or no completely, then I'd have to be leaning more towards yes.
Why? How can you lean towards yes when it comes to the active persecution of millions of Jewish people?
So before I answer this, I'm just gonna do a quick explanation on why they were persecuted, in my opinion. Jews in Germany have been the reason, well, not the reason, but they've been the targets of a lot of hate and persecution throughout in Germany throughout years, even before World War II happened. And the end of World War One, after the signing of the Treaty of Versailles, Jews were scapegoated almost immediately by the National Socialist Party and some communist parties too in Germany. They scapegoated the Jews and blamed them, and I think there is actually a conversation to be had about that. Where Hitler is coming from is that he put blame on the Jewish people. He put blame on bankers, and he put
Can I say this? You'd be familiar, for example, that there was a huge amount of, there were so many German Jews who joined up for the German army in World War One. They fought hard. I believe it was actually a Jewish officer who recommended Hitler for a military commendation during World War One. So, I mean, you're saying that this is a scapegoating, that the Nazis started attacking the Jews after World War One, blaming them for the loss of the war and stuff like that. How's that fair? You're admitting that the Jews were scapegoated.
Well, it's fair because a lot of these bankers and stuff, they did pull out of Germany, and they were somewhat responsible for the economic collapse of Germany. See, Jews started gaining a lot more influence in the British Parliament around 1917. A lot more Jews were inside British Parliament and inside governing, into politics inside the British government. Jews already had influence in Britain, and Britain had influence over the signing of the Treaty of Versailles. Jews and Germans have hated each other for so long, even before World War One. And
That's
for
not
the fact
true.
that
That's not true. That's not true. The German Jewish community was extremely well assimilated within Germany prior to the rise of the Nazis.
Wait, I don't even think that's true. Wait, what? Wait, what? What is Drew talking about? Dude, I fucking hate it's actually Drew that is the one debating Nathan. Dude, fuck me, dude. Oh my god. Before the Nazis rose to power in Germany, anti-Semitism had a long history in Europe, with prejudices against Jews existing for nearly 2,000 years before the Holocaust. Okay. Pre-World War II, were Jews integrated into German society? Oh, fuck. Prior to World War II, German Jews were generally well integrated into German society, but with a complex and evolving history of integration and anti-Semitism. While they enjoyed legal and social equality and participated in various aspects of German life, including politics, culture, and economy, they also faced growing anti-Semitism, especially with the rise of the Nazi Party. So maybe he didn't mean completely? Jews had lived in Germany for centuries, and a significant portion has been integrated into German culture. Society. Oops. Diversity. Growing anti-Semitism. The Nazi Party, fueled by racist ideology, promoted anti-Semitism as a core tenet of their platform. When did Jews become citizens and... Okay, alright, cool. Yeah.
I mean, it depends on where you went. South.
So they were socially ostracized, but they weren't legally ostracized. Does that make sense? Right? They were not. They weren't like, it wasn't apartheid. It wasn't like second-class citizenship, right? Which it isn't. We don't really identify pre-Holocaust Germany to be an apartheid state. We don't.
South Germany was kind of known for persecuting, well, not persecuting, but having a dislike for Jewish people before World War One. A lot of that came from Catholic influence or other things in South Germany. South Germany before World War One did kind of hate Jewish people before the National Socialists did.
Okay, so anyway, we're going back to your point. You say that the persecution justified because of this racial hatred. I just want to ask, why is it justified to persecute?
Who's winning? I think we're all losing. Just name one winner. Drew is losing because I don't trust Drew, okay? Frankly, Drew is a liberal, neoliberal, just like us, whatever the fuck, right? But he's retarded, all right? So we can't count on him, all right? Nathan, what? Am I dreaming, or is this just like a joke or something? Did I just get a testing raid?
Execute millions of people. I mean, where do you say that you agree with the persecution, but that there was not mass killings? What do you think actually happened then?
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna explain this again. Jews had influence.
Yo, Destiny. Thanks for the raid, buddy. Thanks.
In Germany, they had influence in German politics, and they had influence in German banking. They had control over a lot of German banks.
But anyway, as I was saying, right? Jews in Europe, okay? Sorry, Jews in Germany, at the very least, they were integrated into like academia, government. All right, but it's just that, yeah, obviously there's going to be, a problem with anti-Semitism in Europe, right? Like, obviously. That's what I was saying. Okay.
And
Okay.
news, as they did in the U.S. So they did technically have some power in economic collapse of Germany after World War One and at the end of World War One. And again, you said I disagree with mass killings. I never said that I don't think mass killings happened. I said explicitly, yes, there were mass killings. But when it comes to the Holocaust, I do not.
Wait. There were what? Mass what?
I think it was a mass industrial Holocaust. I don't think Germany was fully industrialized to exterminate the Jewish people. That's just not true. That's not something that happened.
Oh, mass killings. Okay. I don't think there were really any like major mass killings, no? Like prior to the Holocaust? How many people died on Kristallnacht? Not many, no? Were there like any Jewish lynchings? There probably was, but like not to the scale of like a fucking massacre, no?
Germany did not change its entire industrial pathway to exterminate Jewish people. They did not convert.
This is where you're wrong, Nathan, because really, even at the height of the war on the Eastern Front, the Germans were utilizing and
Yes, there was,
removing
okay.
a significant amount of rail
Alright,
stock
okay.
for the transportation
Okay, hold on. I'll
of
search it
Jews
up.
to death camps. So even
Wait, yo, DGG, please like the stream, please. Thank you. Hold on. Mass killings of Jews before the Holocaust in Germany. In short, yes, there were instances of mass killings of Jews before the Holocaust in Germany, although the scale and nature differ from the systematic state-sponsored genocide of the Holocaust. Okay, yeah. Medieval pogroms. Okay, that's quite a while ago. 19th century pogroms. Hep hep riots. Okay. Kristallnacht. Arrest and imprisonment. Yeah, I mean Kristallnacht, probably, yeah.
at the height of the war, a significant amount of the German industrial capacity.
Yo, guys. Not only that, you guys should join the Discord. Okay, you guys should join the Discord. All right. Thank you. We are DGG friendly. Thank you. Wagner. Okay.
The railroad
27
capacity
likes.
was
Yeah,
actually
like the stream,
diverted to the mass killings of Jews, and the use of Jewish slave labor was a massive part of the German industrial effort during World War II. If you read Adam Tooze's the book.
Didn't the Crusades start with Jewish mass killings? Yeah, but what I'm talking about is like maybe I'm looking for like maybe 50 years before the Holocaust. I'm looking for around that. What is happening? Yeah, I guess I'm just a Destiny adjacent content creator, okay? And I cover drama. I primarily cover drama slot, but I have knowledge of political shit. But yeah.
If you read Adam Tooze's book, The Wages of Destruction, you can see that it's actually impossible for major parts of German industry to operate without the use of slave labor by both Jewish and also just people all across Eastern Europe. There were millions of people who were inducted as slave laborers.
Okay, so number one, a lot more railroads to concentration camps, supply trains, stuff like that, transportations of Jewish people.
Germany went through 30 years war before that when Martin Luther nailed a book to a door. Oh, okay. When do you consider the Holocaust starting? When Himmler began carrying out the first steps, right? When the design that Himmler was Himmler.
Foodshops Cuban Link Fund.
Thank you so much for $10, Corey. But yeah, that's when I consider the Holocaust to be happening. Okay, when you start enacting the first steps, right? Because before it was the planning, and then after it was the enaction, right?
From camp to camp were bombed by the Allies during World War II. This is known. This is documented pretty well. And second fact, slave labor does not always mean genocide. Okay, there are so many other countries that were also using
a martini, shaken not stirred.
Don't be shy. You're Destiny's strongest soldier.
That's I don't even listen. I don't even know if I want that label. Okay, Jesus. Thank you so much for $2. I appreciate it.
slave labor that weren't trying to genocide those people. Now, I don't get why you think slave labor would equal genocide when it comes to this case, because if they're using all of these people to continue their industrial output, to continue output of products for soldiers to use in the Eastern Front, they wouldn't be also genociding these people. They wouldn't be killing the people.
There was a selection process so that Jewish men who could work were put into forced slave labor, and there was no concern whether these people died in the process of the slave labor. So they were basically worked to death. And then people who were considered unfit to work were immediately exterminated. So this was the elderly, this was the young.
Yeah. There were women. All right, women were also working. All right, like again for slavery, whatever the fuck, right? Women were also working, Jewish women. And basically, if they were sick with something like fucking typhoid or whatever, you know, plague was sweeping the camps at the time, they every single time the German officers did a regular checkup, they had to pretend to the best of their ability to be normal and healthy, because otherwise, because they know that if they are detected to be sick among the German officers, right, the German officers would then just kill them. Yeah. But
this was a lot of women, so there were some Jews who were forced into slave labor, but they were worked a huge proportion of them were worked to death during the war.
Okay, so about that selection process, they did select those unfit to work to be killed. I know that happened. That's not exterminating them based on their race. That's
Just a drink.
just exterminating.
A martini, shaken, not stirred.
Destiny is Foodshops'
Typhoid.
strongest
I
orbiter.
don't know. Listen, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, fuck you. Silver King, thank you so much for the $5, buddy. Destiny is food ships. Strongest orbiter. True. Thank you.
Them based on their
Typhus,
ability
Typhoid.
to
I don't.
work.
Fuck
They
you.
did that with other people too. They did that with political opponents that were put in the same campus as Jewish people. Yes, there were non-Jews in the same campus as Jewish people. It wasn't specifically Jewish people that were persecuted because they couldn't work inside these camps. Everyone was, and this.
Wait, hold on. What is Nathan arguing against? He's arguing against mass extermination in the specific camps, right? Because if he accepts that, wait a second, didn't he? I feel like Drew now has all the information to fucking nail Nathan down on this, right? No, because isn't part of it just like because so Nathan acknowledges that there's persecution. Nathan acknowledges that there's discrimination. Nathan acknowledges that there are camps. Nathan acknowledges, so he questions the gas chambers, but that's whatever. You don't need that. And I'll explain why, right? He acknowledges that, yeah, he probably will acknowledge that persecution plus like in slavery, like also equals like, just fucking, you don't care whether or not they die, right? So is it not... Is it not the case that maybe you can argue that already that yeah they are death camps? I guess like one thing to ask Nathan, I guess in my opinion, is how do you define death camps? Yeah, right. How do you define death camps? What's your definition of death camps? What's your definition of like industrial genocide? I guess, right?
This is like it's not. I'm not saying it's right.
Also ask Nathan, who is Heinrich Himmler? Who is the person who orchestrated all of this, right? Who is the person that designed all of this? Who is Himmler, right? That'll probably just be another question I'll ask.
That Germany did this. I'm just saying that the context doesn't make sense for it to be a genocide when, again, they're relying on these people to work, and if you can't work, you're just taking up space in these camps. Also, the sick were killed. It wasn't because they were sick and couldn't work, because some sick people did.
So you're admitting that that basically people who could not work were basically killed.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean genocide.
That doesn't mean genocide. So you can actually take millions of people, concentrate them into these slave labor camps. Half of them are exterminated immediately with gas chambers, and then other people are worked to death. And you're saying, oh well, it's not actually genocide just to work people to death while giving them no means of life, while denying them medical care, while denying them food. There was a systematic hunger plan. There was a systematic hunger plan in the sense that the Nazi camp commanders, they did not want to give enough food.
Wait, is this fucking Nathan? Yeah, it's Nathan.
No, that's just not true. That's just not true. There are multiple specific meetings held to discuss how they can reduce loss of life in these camps, held by Nazi high-ranking officials. You can find this. This is easy access information. There were meetings held to learn how to combat illness in these camps, how to help them like have more room to live and stuff like that, so they're not crammed together as much as they were with the like population of these camps growing. There were specific meetings held to get them more food and supplies, while allies were bombing these transportations. Like
I gotta make clear, one of the biggest arguments against the Allies during World War II is that they were fully aware of places like Auschwitz and they didn't ever actually try to bomb.
That's I mean, like, I'm not... Listen, I don't want to roast Nathan too hard, okay? Yeah, obviously. Also, the thing is that, dude, a lot of people went through, like, a fucking Nazi phase, far-right phase, when they were younger, okay? Either far-right or far-left, extremist phase, because you're young, you're brash, you're more inclined to fucking be a little bit rebellious, right? You want to be kind of a contrarian to your parents, so.
On the crematoria, they didn't actually try to properly stop these places.
But again, I mean, I guess the worry comes from if you do not grow out of that phase, right? because a phase is a phase, but if you don't grow out of that phase, you'll end up like Sam Hyde and Nick Fuentes, right? So it really depends. I think that most people grow out of that phase unless you start gaining some fame from it, I guess, and money from it. Then I think at some point you're like more locked in, right? Because you have more yes men around you. You have more people to gaslight you. You have more people that are willing to reinforce what you already believe, right? If that makes sense.
This is from functioning. So why is that?
Well, they're not going to bomb. They're not going to bomb the whole camp. No, they're bombing transports. They're bombing transports, not the camp.
No, but there are strong arguments to be made against the Allies that they didn't do enough to stop transportation of Jews to the camps. Like, for example, when hundreds of thousands of Hungarian Jews were transported to the camps, the Allies made no efforts to actually stop the transportation. They could have bombed the railroads. They didn't do that.